back. I'm working on a project and I need speedometer. Um, and I'm going to see if I can't do something with Krita at the same time to create my own dials. I'm going to go to the downloads here and I'm going to grab something that I can kind of trace out. So let's see here what we got. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click on text here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw an outline on over the picture here. And then that automatically opens up the text dialog box, and anytime you click on the text after that too, the dialog box will open up. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a placeholder text here. I'm definitely going to want to have the ability for the needle to move. So I'm going to have to work out that detail. Yeah, I'm holding the space bar down when I drag this screen. And then I'm rolling the mouse whenever I want to make this bigger. And I decided to just make my own. So I grabbed the circle tool and I've created a circle here and filled it in. And so I'm going to see now if I can continue to draw using the shape tool. Okay, and then select it and then take off that crazy line or turn it red. Let's get the correct red here. I just want the stock red, and we'll do the same thing for the fill color. Okay. All right, and then we can come in and clean up the shape of this using one of the tools here. This one will do. Okay, and it's quite a bit fatter, so I'm just going to go ahead and take off the line because I'm sure that's what's causing that. So we'll hit that selection tool again and go back to line and just remove it. Okay, and now you can see the color underneath. So now I think it makes more sense when we use this tool that we can go ahead and make that just a hair bigger. Make this one it doesn't matter because it's going to go underneath in just a second. And we'll go ahead and match that line up. Okay. That should look so much better. I'm going to go ahead and come in here. Okay, see, it doesn't matter where this line is because now that we're done with this, I'm going to right click. First, we're going to select it. Selection tool, not the edit tool that we were just working with. And then when I right click, it's going to let me bring it to the front or send it to the back. Send it to the back. And now I should have a pretty good looking picture here. Let's take a zoom out. Take off my vector layer. And there's the original underneath. Okay. And I'm going to be using my own needle. I'm going to go bright red, and I'm going to get this out of the picture after I've created my needles. All right. So I think that that's the way I'm going to approach this. I wasn't happy with the results of trying to create a shape, so let's keep working on this. So here we go. On this needle, there's not going to be an RPM, so I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do. I'm probably going to strike those words and perhaps put in that this is the charge meter, so solar charge, and the over here will be like the actual solar power that's coming into the car. All right, let's go ahead and just create the rest of the needles. All right, created our circle here, and now we'll just go ahead and select it, and we can move it into position and resize it. You can still see the background image underneath to kind of get your exact proportions. And then we just go up here and do the line and the fill. And we can move back to the polyline tool. That's spacebar and drag. Okay, I just gave one click there where I wanted to start it. One click there. One click here. I'm going to try to be a little more accurate this time since I know what I'm doing. And then you see that little circle that shows up there when I get close? Click. Okay. And then just go right straight to the selector tool. Select this and take the line off, and then that's going to take away that gross part. Now we'll come in and we'll fill it with the right color, which is going to be red. Okay, and then send to back. See, this is the editing feature. We're like editing now, so I think last time I tried. Oh, you can do it. Send it back. Okay, so that one's done just that fast, and it's all on one layer. So I guess we could just rename this needles, and I'll have a picture to send out in a view that's just a page of needles. Okay, let's go on over. I'm going to hit the space bar and hold it, drag on over. And so we're going to continue working on this. As you remember, I created the needles, and there's the original background picture, which I'm going to go ahead now and just create a duplicate. And there's so many different ways you can do that, but in this case, I'm just going to ask to make a new layer from visible. And so now if I turn off the background layer, this is my visible layer, which is identical. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on this layer. And so we're going to use this Contingious selection tool right here. I love this. It just selects the color. And then we're going to hit the fill bucket here. And this is going to fill by just clicking. And you'll see that I've already selected white as my color. And so when I click, one click over the red here, which I can go ahead and make a little bigger, now that turns that white for me. Okay, and I think that that's going to be enough. I might find that there's a little fragment of red around this, but I don't think it's going to show. Um, let's see if there's any line remnant or anything I can do with the tools. Well, I try quite a few different ways to try to erase the line to no avail. But I go ahead and just move forward and keep selecting the needles and removing as much of the picture as I actually can, converting it to white. And then I finally found the solution here. Okay, we're going to try this paint layer one more time. Come up here. I just want to get rid of the line, that's all. All right, so there's that, and I have the white selected. So I ended up grabbing the freehand brush tool and clicked on white, and then from there I was able to paint over a new layer and just paint those lines out. And then later on I was able to merge the picture together without any lines on it, created an image that had just a white. And then I had to go back and fix everything that had to do with the zero and the little dashes that were missing anywhere that arrows went over the top of it. And I'll leave that little remnant. It'll help me finish the circle. And then let's make this brush much bigger now. And I'll roll my mouse. All right. Yay. Let's go get the rest of them here. And just move it down here as well. You can see where the tool could be a problem if it's too big. Make it smaller. If you make it too small, it can be kind of tough to keep on the line. So try to get it just right. Oops, too much. Good. Okay, now I might regret keeping the circle there, and I'm honestly thinking of just going ahead and ditching it now. Because then I won't have to mess with it when I put my needle on. It will be wherever my needle says it is correct. Okay, let's keep going with this layer. So I did clean it out of that one because I was there and could just stick with it and keep cleaning it until I'd hit all the different available options. So here, I'm going to be careful. I don't want to lose the line, but I'm going to go over the line on purpose. You can see how I lose the line if I do that. So let's Control Z that, which means I'm going to probably have to leave a couple remnants behind. If I come in here really small, though, I can try to. Okay, now the visible layer underneath. This one's not as clean as the others, but let me see if I can continue here. Too big. Okay, and rather than just to continue chasing this way, I'm going to go with the eraser here. And I'm going to add a little bit of a light gray line. Pretty close to this color I'm seeing here. Yeah, not a very good job. Yeah, it might be too rough. I'm going to erase a bit. See if I can clean up. But it might be with just a little touch of gray on there that I can make that kind of disappear. And it's going to look, it doesn't have to be absolute. Come on. It's a cartoon. All right, so here we go. And that's where now I think if I just erase off the rest of these circles, I'm going to go back to white here, and I think I'm happy with this tool's actually working. I don't think I want to do anything else. I'm pretty sure that I would. was thinking maybe turning this white. Let's see if I can grab both at the same time. Hit shift and hit this other gray circle. And then I just want to check and make sure I didn't grab anything else I didn't want to. And then let's fill these with the white. Okay, get rid of that selection mask. Get rid of that selection mask. Okay. Let's go up here now and turn this to black. And maybe shade it down just a skosh. Be a little more washed out. Okay. And then, or just eyedropper it. All right. We'll take that black. Say okay. Okay, so what I need to do, there's the paint layer. That's what that looks like over the top of the visible layer. All right, and so now we're gonna click this visible layer again and add a vector layer. Okay, and I want to move the vector layer up one. And on the vector layer now, I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing. I'm going to grab this oval tool, and I'm going to come in here. Make a nice little oval. Okay, only this time, because it's a vector, vector layer, I can just simply select it and move it, size it, adjust that right on in there over the top. Okay, there's the original. Okay, pretty easy. Right on. Okay, that looks a lot better. I think that on a dashboard here, that's going to be incredible. All right, so that was just using a vector layer to do that. And we're going to just on the same vector layer, we'll go ahead and make our little dash as well. I think we can just use the line tool or something like that. I was using this polyline. I liked it just because it was easy to use. Let's see here. Shift mouse click ends the polyline. So in this case, I'm going to only make one dash. I think one dash, maybe two. Shift mouse click. Okay, a little bigger than I wanted, but let's see now if we can just select it. That's the cool thing. And we can make it a little smaller. Get it in line. Bigger than the others. Shape it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you know, this isn't perfect. Neither should this be. Love it. All right. So probably just as easy to get it about the right shape and size. Okay. And then really Control C, Control V. Okay. Find that little. Usually you got to get just outside of it in order to find that little movement tool. All right. And the 0 looks great. The needle should be over the top of the 0. And when I lay needles into the Cartoon Animator, they will all be able to be placed so that they go over the top of all the numbers. And I forgot that we do want to have this now, and we need to keep going with the labeling now that I've got it fixed. Now this is going to be the charge, I think. That'll work. Okay, so that will do that, and then I should have a working dashboard. I'm going to try to find out how to do another layer here that's just a background. So let's see. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and add either a background or a paint layer as a background. And so to make it be underneath everything, I believe this is where I'm going with it. It would go under visible, the needles, everything. This would act as a background layer then. And I'm going to try to just use an advanced color selector. And okay, let's see if I can just fill it with the fill tool. This paint layer. there's a background. Turn it off, turn it on. So let's see what we can do with this now that we actually have a... So there's lots of great choices and just tons of things to choose from. So I'll let you explore this area. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just choose from the different selections and you're off. I basically ended up choosing a textured background, and then I added a second layer background, which you'll see here coming up. So the two combined kind of made an interesting look, and I just adjusted the opacity so that I could have that texture just pretty much disappear and fade off into the background. And then you'll see here how I'm going to play with the opacity. I'm sorry, the gradient. And so now we're going to just adjust the gradient, and I'll play with this a little bit, move the sliders around, and I eventually come up with something that I like. So I'm going to let you watch me kind of experiment here. Now, if I haven't mentioned it before in this video, we're working on creating our own stuff and then moving it back and forth, Cartoon Animator. And this is a live work that I'm doing because I actually am creating a version of an episode, and it's going to be about solar powered pressure washing, and the clouds coming in and messing up the work, and it ought to be a lot of fun. And so I'm glad that you're here to join with me, and as we work together on this project, you can kind of get the look and feel of what it's like to gather up the resources and make them your own and convert things into the use that you're trying to do so that you can move along your project. And so there's a lot of different ways to do this, and my way isn't necessarily the correct way, but I try to figure out some easy ways and shortcuts to accomplish the work. So if you'd like to support this channel, we'd sure appreciate your likes and subscribes, and we are always happy to see comments. And if you have something that you'd like to see or learn about, just let me know, and if it's something I can do, I'll do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you're interested in getting a free version of Cartoon Animator 5, there's a free trial available for a month. You can visit reallusion.com, or if you'd like to further support the channel, you can go into the links in the description, and there'll be a link there for the free trial. We don't necessarily make any money off of it, but it gives us credit that we at least invited some friends to do the download. So thanks so much for your support, everybody. Okay, we're starting to get a pretty good look and feel here. Starting to like this. So this is going to go into the solar powered vehicle eventually, and I'll put some type of a mask and dash actual car around the whole image to look like it's in a dashboard. And so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use it in all of the episodes, but there's going to be quite a few different variations of this, and it'll be used under different circumstances, and so I ought to have a lot of fun with it, with the needles moving and the character panicking, and yeah. I was just kind of looking over the writing. Okay, I think that's going to be my dashboard. We'll be coming back here probably to do more work at some point on some other stuff, but Bit of a learning curve for sure. Okay, let's move on here. All right, for the sake of argument, I thought maybe too I should go and bring in a different needle like the one that had a white background and show you how to deal with that. So even though I wanted to just work with ones that were already transparent, and I was able to go to the paint program and just save it as a PNG, and it allowed me to save the transparency that way, so that was cool. But let's see. Let's bring in one of these that did have that white background on it. The bitmap one did. Now that I know where the needle gets thrown off to. Okay, and then I would love a way to preserve this so that when I go and adjust anything, I don't have to try to figure out how to get back. Um, so that I could just go find the needle. Yeah, let's do this since we know it's just below. Let's pan this time instead of zooming in, and we'll just grab it, and hopefully it doesn't cause too much trouble to have done it this way. And we'll just keep making this guy smaller, and then back to panning it back into position. Not too painful. Okay, so that's back in position, and then those first two needles work. And we'll go ahead and grab this needle now. That might be a little less intrusive. Still, when you have a whole pile of work on it, it's hard when something like that happens. Okay, so here's where we have this needle here that obviously needs to have some work done. And so we're going to take just the needle to composer mode now. And as you can see, it always going to need that point to be moved. So we'll go ahead and go into the bone editor. Just, and I'm not holding the shift key this time. I just moved it. It didn't have a problem letting me. You can see you can add pins to this, or you can make the needle even wave if you wanted to by adding some bones. But I don't want anything like that at this point. Maybe later. Okay, so that's in the center. That's what we wanted. And then the other thing I need to do is hit the mask editor. So let's close the bone editor now. We've done what we wanted, and we'll just make sure this is highlighted so that this is highlighted. And this is what we call the mask editor. And all I'm going to do is remove the white background. So let's see here. There's a easy way to do it. All right. So that happened pretty quick. In case y'all missed it, maybe that wasn't fair. Let's go to the mask editor really quick, and I'll just go walk you through what I did. Okay, so I just simply hit the magic wand, because at this point when I open it up, it's going to let me uh, just click the magic wand on the background. And if you've got a good solid picture already set, then it's just that easy. Now the white background, this is called a mask. It's masked off all the white background. And so now all you're left with is just the arrow picture. Okay? And so you don't have to save or anything like that. If you're happy with this change, you just simply click on out of here. And we're all set now to go on back to stage mode. Okay, and so now I have a needle. So let's go ahead to needle 4, and we'll just make it not, I'm sorry, that was needle 2, and we'll make it not show. And then we're going to come in here and grab this. And fortunately, it all came from the same picture, so the needles are nice and aligned with the picture. So there we go. We have that in place. And of course, if I go ahead and now hit this, we haven't added any movement to needles 1 parentheses 0. We had only done it to needle 2, which is right underneath. You can see it where it's not quite lined the same way, and it still moves. Okay, so let's make that invisible, and we're down here on this needle we just put on here. And so pretty simple, just right click it, and you're going to go ahead and open that prop key editor. And now that we've set the point in the right place and everything, all we have to do is rotate. Okay, except we're on frame 0 here. So unless you want the needle to actually start at a speed, in this case, you wouldn't. And then it's just pretty much 0 is fine. I mean, somewhere here in the 0, wherever your car would stop normal, it could be centered. Okay, so 0 is where I place the picture, and that's about right. So let's go ahead then and just same scenario, only this time I'm going to move this needle slower by taking longer for it to come up to 20 miles an hour. And now let's see, we'll add that rotation to about 20. Okay, all right, so now let's go back to the beginning of the timeline, and we'll just go ahead and slide through there. Okay, all right, so unless I play it just naturally here, you can see the speed coming up. All right, and we knew that was going to take its time coming up, so we're done with the prop key editor, and then I'm going to open up needle 2 at the same time. Maybe they'll move in different speeds, and we can kind of see. Okay, cool. And then let's go in here to the timeline then and click the second button once, and it'll just make the needle that's highlighted show up. And let's see what we'd want to take a look at here. First off, make sure you're looking at the whole timeline, and then you can see that this one is going from here to here. This slows the needle down. Slows the needle way down. Okay. Let's make the needle go super fast. So that made it all the way to 0 to 20. And okay, so let's only look at one needle at a time, so we actually know which one we're looking at. Okay, so let's look at needle 2 now and look at its motion. Okay, so here we're just looking at one needle just to avoid the confusion, and it's moving super slow up to 20 miles an hour. And if I wanted it to go fast, then, I could put it here, and now it's moving really quick up to 20 miles an hour. Cool. All right, that's it. Okay, I found a pressure washer from Vect Easy here, and I'm going to go ahead and let me back up here really quick. So I came up here and said create media prop, and I grabbed the image off of my download file from VectEasy. Okay, and so now that it's in here, I've highlighted it and I'm taking it to composer mode. And then when I click on it, you'll see it highlight over here. And I'm going to hit the mask now that just showed up, mask editor. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can just, in one stroke here, turn this picture, get rid of the background. Okay. Okay. And what I would like to do is just grab this magic wand and click this. Okay, and now you see that it's masked off this part of the picture. And if I wanted to, I could come in here and get picky with this little white piece as well. Okay, and now I have just the image here. And we're going to get on out of here by just closing it. And now the image doesn't have this background on it anymore. Now I believe as long as I'm on custom here that I can also hit save. And it'll save it as a prop for me, so I could call this a pressure washer. Okay, and now I'll have that available to bring in when I'm ready to use it on other projects. Meanwhile, we've now created ourselves a prop, which I can make sure I'm at the very beginning frame, on frame 0 when you move stuff in. It'll save you a lot of issues. Okay, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to fit this guy, but it's helpful if you go to F11 and then you can, let's highlight it again, and I'm going to roll the mouse towards me and bring it to just this side of the post. All right, now it kind of looks like it's plugged in here. Let's move it back onto the rack. It'll look like it has its own rack. Oh yeah, that's going to work fine. Almost looks like an armrest. We don't want to bury the seat. Good. All right, let's take a quick peek. In fact, I'm going to save it first because I just want to protect my work. All right, now we'll F11 again and we'll click off to the side. Usually breaks its funk of not wanting to work. There we go. We got the skylights. Solar panels coming up now. Cloudy. Okay, so and then we'll have him. His pressure washing stream's going to go away when the sun goes behind the clouds. So let's take this now and just make sure that we're back on frame 0 before we make any changes to this. And then we'll go to F11. Just make it a little smaller. I think it's just a hair too big. And then we're also going to make these guys smaller. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, now those panels grow as they climb. Hey, thanks for watching. Come on back, lesson 25, where we're going to do some really great things.